Hey folks, Triple J here. I promised you guys a more in-depth review of the Remington, so here it is. This is a Remington Nylon 66. They were made from 1959 to 1989. They had a 30-year lifespan with over 1 million made. I believe 1,050,350 to be exact. They came in 3 colors originally. This, which is Mohawk Brown. It's the most common variation with the most units produced and sold in this color. It also came in a black, which was Apache black, which was made a lot less of, like less than half of total productions were in black. The rarest was Seneca green, with only 25,000 made. It's the rarest of all 3 colors. There was also a limited, I believe, Apache green that was a Kmart exclusive. It was a bright green. It features a standard leaf and blade type sight. One of the things that makes the sights on this a little bit unique is the way it is shaped. Kind of looks like a shark fin, which I actually love. This model, this is my own personal gun. This isn't a lender. This isn't anything. This is my baby and I love her. I believe when I had the serial numbers ran, she's a early 70, like a 72, 73 model. They do have a grooved receiver to take a scope. A lot of them sold in a package deal, just like the ones you get nowadays with Savage and a lot of the other auto loads that come with a little low-power scope. These came with a Tasco 4x15. If you guys will remember in the last video, I do still have the original scope with her. I took her off the gun for this video because of the lighting. It's a tubular-fed magazine that actually feeds from the rear of the stock instead of under the gun. I do like it because you don't have to get your hand anywhere near the muzzle. She is a hot gun. The tube is loaded. There's not one in the chamber, but she is a hot gun. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and throw my Air Pro on, take a couple shots, and we'll talk a little bit more about it while I'm reloading. For those of you who have seen my channel before, you'll know I always have issues with my right ear. Alright, we'll go ahead and we just have a few soda cans, a couple pine cones, nothing really major today, but figured we'd just take a couple shots and wow, it's obvious I don't shoot with the iron sights on her very much. Part of the other problem is at this range, that front blade sight is about twice as wide as the soda can. So I can't actually see where I'm aiming once I get it over the soda. And yes, I know, excuses, excuses. I can tell if I'm going high or low. Well, now, that was quite the little adventure of missing a lot. I do not do this gun justice. The Nylon 66 is renowned for being a highly accurate gun, if the operator is a little better. When I have the scope on her, I'm dead on. It's just, I don't know where the sights are adjusted. At this range, she seems to be shooting a little high. I established that before the video with a few test shots, but at this range, I didn't think she was. She looked like she was almost spot on. But a few of those shots distinctively went over and I saw the splash well beyond the target back there in the dirt. So one of the things that made this gun unique is that it was the first mass-produced rifle to feature a stock made of anything other than wood, which basically means this is the great-grandfather to all of our modern polymer and synthetic stocked rifles and pistols. This is their great-great-granddaddy circa 1959. well, maybe not great-great-granddaddy. I better watch it because I think some of my viewers were born in the 50s. Remington was basically looking for a way to cut down on cost. I'm going to try to load this while I'm talking, but it gets kind of interesting to count rounds and talk at the same time. Today we're just shooting some generic, oddly enough, the same Winchester we were shooting last time. Not just literally out of the same box, not even another box. 22 ammo in California is still almost impossible to find. I've been sitting on this box for almost 2 years, savoring every last round as I just throw it. The box is empty, all the rounds are in my pocket. Like I was saying, so in 1959, Remington was looking for a way to cut down costs on production. And they wanted to go with a new material, save weight. Well, the developers decided there was weight that could be saved in the barrel, or in the stock and receivers. So they contacted DuPont Chemical Company. And DuPont decided, yeah, sure, you know, we can make you something that'll be lighter and durable. And Remington, of course, gave them a set level of tensile strength. You know, it had to be this flexible, but withstand this much tensile impact. And what DuPont came up with was a form of nylon, which they called, like, Zytel or Zytel 66. It was their specific name and chemical composition for the type of nylon they had developed. And that's what they sold to Remington to make these guns out of. Both the stock and the receiver, despite what it looks like, are made of this nylon. This is actually just a metal cover. This actually comes off with 2 screws, and your actual receiver is the same nylon as the stock. This gun, as it sits, unloaded, with no scope, if I was to completely empty it, only weighs 4 pounds. She is an extremely lightweight gun. I mean, it's hard to really portray this through a video and a camera, but she is light. She makes a beautiful gun for beginners and kids because she's only about 32 inches long, probably. I mean, really short, compact. I believe she's a standard 16.5, maybe 18-inch barrel. I don't know the details on that. I didn't think to look that up. You know, I looked up all this other information about when they were made and how they came about. One of the things that made this gun such a great seller, especially in the early years, is that being the first gun made of the synthetic material, you didn't have to worry about lubricating and oiling your wood stock or sealing it, especially in damp or Arctic climates. That's why people in, like, Alaska and the Northwest Territories and stuff loved this gun in the early years, because they didn't have to worry about keeping their stocks lubed. There are numerous reports of people in those areas taking down large game with this gun as a testament to its accuracy, you know, being able to hit, you know, walnut-sized brain and a moose at however many yards. None of those stories have ever been confirmed. It's never been recorded. They're just hearsay. But what is confirmed is that in good hands, especially if you're shooting off a bench at paper, this is an extremely accurate gun, even at a little bit of range that a lot of 22s don't carry quite as far as accurately, at least in my opinion. You know, there's no facts to back that up, just from what I've seen. My dad owns 2 old vintage 22s, a Winchester and a Marlin. I've shot modern 22s. I've shot this. And this one seems to, I shoot this one at 75 yards a lot easier than I do any of the other ones. And I know 75 yards isn't that far, but for 22, most people are shooting at like 30, 35 yards, maybe 50 at most. 25 if you're at an actual range with set berms. 25 is a common place where you'll see most 22s, even rifles. But we are starting to lose daylight, so I'm going to quit yabbing and get a few more shots downrange before I can't see my targets at all. Maybe not, because my earpro doesn't want to go in again. I really do need to invest in shells, I think. Or the wraparound type. Anyway, we'll go ahead and charge her. I'm actually going to go kneel, see if I can get a little more stability. Nope. I cannot even tell where those are going. Alright, we're going to move over, take a shot at that. I'm probably almost out of rounds. Told you. One thing I will say about her, she has a beautiful trigger. She's very light. And it's so easy, like any 22, to just keep squeezing that trigger. You know, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, slow down, take your time, aim, you know, fundamentals, grouping, trigger control, breathing. And instead, my brain's thinking it, but my mind's just like, ooh, this is nice. Ting, 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 and just keeps going. Which is how I just burned through 14 rounds of ammo and I do recommend for anyone looking to get a gun, especially new shooters, people with smaller builds, getting a 22 for your first gun. They're cheap to shoot, they're fun, there's a lot more places. I think that was 12. No, 9. You know, there are a lot of places where you can shoot 22s. A lot of indoor ranges that are pistol only will also allow 22 rifles. Somewhere close. The one downside to the rear tube, as opposed to a... Nope, not too many. Having the tube in the rear is... For those of you who are used to tube-fed 22s, or tube-fed anything, honestly, that feeds under the barrel, you fill them until you can see the top of the round, and that's when they're full. Well, unfortunately, that's not quite the case with this. Even looking down it, it's hard to guess what's full and what's not, unless you actually sit here and count out your rounds. When you're trying to multitask like I am, that gets a little difficult. I am hell-bent on hitting at least one more of those cans from this range. So, earlier I put some pine cones out in the middle of the trail, and I think this would be a good opportunity to shoot them. Because maybe at least then I can hit the broadside of a barn, eh? Okay then, I do promise you out there in video YouTube land that this gun is more accurate than I am making it seem. There is a elevation adjustment on the rear sight. I've never adjusted the iron sights on this. I don't ever use them. I didn't think that they were off by this much with my test shots I was taking. But apparently, they are. I was holding a good 2 inches under the bottom of that pine cone and still going high. That should have been 5. Public safety announcement. It's never a good idea to put live ammunition in your mouth. It also tastes bad. I don't know what I was thinking. So, I'm tired of missing, so I'm going to go get a little more personal. it tried to run away. Like I said, it is extremely easy to get carried away and just keep shooting. Yeah, I know the loading gets kind of boring because I kind of quit talking while I'm sitting here counting in my head, but this time I'm absolutely sure I have 14 rounds. You can actually go slow to 15. Once you chamber the round, you can take the tube completely out, drop a 15th round in, and never bother. It's too much work. We do have a couple pine cones on the trail that we should be able to actually see, so let's see if we can pick these. Yeah, they're not really doing anything fun. Yeah, I'm just blowing right through them. I was hoping they'd actually... They're not completely empty, but I got a handful of rounds left, so we're going to go ahead and top her off. If I'm not completely empty, I only got about 2 rounds left, probably, knowing me. I just dumped quite a few. One thing I will note is to make sure that you're not on the trigger when you're loading her. If you're not on a bench, to make sure you're up, so you're nowhere near your trigger. Make sure you're not flagging your feet. Notice I keep her kind of pointed out. I'll drop her down ever so slightly as I drop the round in just to make sure she slides down. I have no idea how many rounds I have in there, so I'm not sure if she's going to hold all these. Looks like she will. This isn't the only ammo we have out here. It's just the last of what was in that box. We have a hot gun, the safety's on. Looks like we have about 2 cans left to shoot. We're clear. So, Remington Nylon, 66. Smoking barrel. A little bit of a night shot. You guys might have got a little bit of muzzle flash during that. And with that, take care all.